Shola, Director of the Ministry of Agri. So we have 3 minutes for the tribute, sir.
Praise the Lord. My name is Mr. Shola Olu. I'm actually the Director, Agric in Schools. Schools, Agric and Enterprise Agency, the agency where Mr. Remi Ajayi worked as a Executive Secretary before he was transferred to Ministry of Rural Development. Mr. Remi Ajayi, people have spoken very well about you. They have spoken a lot of you, but I will describe you as a rara avis. Rara avis, R-A-R-A-A-V-I-S, is a Latin phrase, meaning a rare bird. You are a peculiar person, very unique, superlatively super. You are an epitome of good virtues. Though you spent 2 years with us at the Schools, Agriculture and Enterprise Agency, SAE, you made your impact to move this peculiar agency forward. Undoubtedly, you demonstrated that it's not how long, but how well. Within few months of your reception, you demonstrated unparalleled acumen in terms of being a good manager of human and material resources. Remarkably, you produced a superlative compendium that showcased the distinctive activities of Schools, Agriculture, and Enterprise Agency in the Ekiti State. Unarguably, prosperity will speak well of you when reference is being made to SAE in the Ekiti State. Before we could say Jack Robinson, you equally put machinery in motion to kickstart mentorship of all the staff of SAE. You are indeed a good mentor. The entire staff learned a lot from your experience within few months as Executive Secretary of SAE. We cherish you for being meticulous in putting up faultless write-ups, memos, letters, anytime. It has greatly improved our service delivery in the Ekiti State Civil Service. In the area of monitoring of schools, you ensure success of the program by making sure that all local governments are covered. Sometimes we embark on virtual monitoring. For this, you are highly appreciated. Your untiring efforts channeled towards promoting the agency in all relevant fora are highly commendable. The last presentation, sir, at the House of Assembly was remarkable. You made the agency proud. Your unparalleled acumen was equally demonstrated. I recall the positive comments from the honorable members. This has, in no small measure, further promoted the image of the agency, SAE. Therefore, without missing words, without being modest, Mr. Oluwabamigbe Remi Ajayi can be described as highly cerebral, very intelligent, meticulously meticulous, an administrator par excellence, a mentor, an author of many books, and a poet. With the pool of experience tapped from you, sir, there's no doubt the fact that you are leaving us better civil servants. We equally appreciate your king for our support to make you excel. Mommy, you are appreciated. On behalf of SAE staff, I pray that you enjoy the new chapter of your life and enjoy being your own boss. Enjoy your new vacation that never ends. Venin, Vidi, Visi. That's Julius a quote from Julius Caesar, one of his Shakespearean plays, which means you came to the public service of Ekiti State, you saw, you conquered. And lastly, let me borrow from the systematic methodology, ways of showing appreciation by late Idi Amin of Uganda, by saying thanks Thank you very much. Thank you very much indeed. God bless you.
That's a wonderful tribute to Brother Bangbe Ajayi. There is an item on this agenda where we are going to be having the celebrant speech. So before we get to that, sir, there are two things I would like you to input into that speech. So if you forget, I will remind you, sir. While your tribute was being read, it was said that you are a poet. So I would like to know how you won the heart of Sister Funke, maybe through poem writing, lovely poems or whatever. So you are going to tell us. You are going to tell us. Yes, she's already smiling knowingly. And so when it comes to that, I know there is a special thing you used to win Sister Funke that made her to be so strong. I know as a Christian, she has to be very strong behind you, but all the same, there are other ingredients that are added. So I'm going to remind you. Now, like I told you, this event is a 3-in-1 program. We're having the retirement ceremony, we're having the birthday ceremony, then we are having the book launch. So we are moving into the second segment of this program. And there is, our reviewer is already here. He started the program with us. And we have 2 other reviewers in the diaspora. They might be joining us virtually. They are watching the program now. So we might still call on them to have their own review. But we are going to be taking the physical review now. And like we have been hearing from the various comments, Brother Bangbe is the author of many, many, many books. His works are there on that table. We have so many books that he has authored. We have the Traverse of Motherhood, and a lot of the books are here. So some of these books are going to be reviewed today as part of the ceremony. And I have the singular honor to call on our reviewer in person of Professor Isaac Adegbenga Aladegbola, the Deputy Vice Chancellor of Crawford University, Faith City, Ogun State. I want that applause to be deeper and louder than that. So he will be doing justice to some of the books. And please let us enjoy the program.
Thank you very much, my Lord Spiritual and Temporal Kabisi. Government functionaries that are seated here today, the celebrants, the author, and I know a new thing today, poet, members of the public that are here, sisters and brothers, ladies and gentlemen. My job is simple today, to take you through in a few minutes the particular book that is of a good concern to our life, to our governance, and to our progress as a nation. And that book is Nigeria Civil Service, an Untold Story, written by the same celebrant, Mr. Oluwabamigbe Remi Ajayi. It's both a privilege for me to review this book on civil service. Having taught the theoretical aspect of public administration, and having been to practical life of administration, to have this book penned down is a great privilege. And he call it an untold story. Now, for me, it was quite courageous to have brought this onto bear. It is quite courageous to have brought out the formalism, the bureaucratic nature of our public service, to have shown to us the painful reality that public service in Nigeria has come to be. It's not just a historical account, the book. It's a powerful testimony to the resilience of Nigerian civil service and civil servants in the face of the decay, political interference, socio-economic hardship, and all the likes that have bedeviled the service over years. This book is in 2 parts. Section 1 that I've gone through has a lot to do with the panoramic view of Nigeria civil service, and it took us through the golden age when professionalism pervades at the service, when the likes of Simeon Adebo, Jerome Udoji were there, before it came to politicization that we now see, before we experience this level of psychophancy that is available, and the systemic dysfunctions that are there today. And again, the book was so special because it went to bring the narratives around us at the micro level of analysis where he worked for these long years. That is Ekiti State. And the blend of all of this and the historical part of the something makes the book a special one. Now, I'd like to quickly touch on a comparative perspective of what he has done and what is obtained elsewhere. And I'm not going to waste time on that. The first thing is that patronage has replaced meritocracy within Nigerian public service. I am happy that today a lot of government functionaries are here and they could bear witness when they go through this book. Unlike what we have in other lands, in Europe, in Singapore, in Canada, in other places, what we have today is more of a political influence where you have subjected the independence of public service to ridicule. And then the transparent evaluation of the service will show to us that a lot has gone down with the service. Mr. Ajayi is an insider. He has poignantly illustrated that Nigerian civil service has been hijacked by godfatherism, political loyalty, wait for your turn syndrome, Promotions are often rewarded for allegiance rather than competence, and transfers are used as tools of political control. This is what Mr. Ajayi was saying. Postings and promotions started to focus more on flattering or supporting people than the skill that you can provide. And all of these things are happening. Then we have institutional autonomy and bureaucratic neutrality. In those days, bureaucracy, public service are always very neutral. You are not supposed to be in politics. But today, you have to sing the praise of the governor for you to retain a big place in public service. These are the things that Mr. Ajayi has done to aware us of. And the welfare, the morale, the professional pride that we do have in the past are no longer available. He recalled that those days when civil servants enjoyed job security, housing, medical care, scholarships are going by the day. Those things were bringing loyalty and professionalism those days. But today, what we see is a world of ceremonies when things are no longer there. Then the management and accountability are fading away, according to this book. In those days, you implement a performance-based system. But today, what do we see? The key performance indicators are no longer relevant. What we see is that anybody that is trying to do what is right is targeted as dissenters. And corrupt people have taken over all over the place. If you cannot beat them, the saying is that you just join them. The whistleblowing and ethical safeguards are no longer relevant again, unlike what we have in those days. Then the hostile conditions, the condition of service. A lot of time, ASU, which I belong to, will always say, our take-home cannot take us home. And that is the reason why public servants will no longer look at the relevance of what they do, but they want to get what they want, by all means. And if you ask me, people ask questions, how do politicians able to rake a lot of money and collect money and take a lot of money away? There is no way a politician will be able to take money without the connivance of the public service. The paradox of resilience and health conditions that they enjoy in those days are no longer available. The bureaucratic bottlenecks are all over. Political interference, economic hardship, moral dilemmas are all conflicting in what we expect to have. I have also made contribution on all of this. At the time I was writing with Mr. Famusaya, who is also known as a public servant here. I think he had a very fantastic position. I was talking about bureaucratic pillage, that a lot of things has happened to public service in that what you have now is no longer what it used to be. When we now look at the colonial mentality of the service, it's no longer our service. You don't have to do this. Government work cannot be finished, and so the spirit of hard work is already gone. And then what do? Quickly, we need to establish an independent civil service commission. We need to institutionalize merit-based system, which is going to help us. We need to launch a national civil service identity program. We need to implement a results-based management framework, protect whistleblowers and ethical officers who are still willing to do the best in this job. We need to do reforms of welfare and remuneration that will help us to have a standard of service. We need to break the Godfather system, and we need to digitalize the system in such a way that human intervention, human corruption will be reduced. We need to reclaim the narrative. Mr. Ajayi hopes that this book will inspire a new generation to see public service as a noble calling and not a last resort. Ladies and gentlemen, this book is a must read. The Untold story is more than a memo. It is a national intervention. It bridges the gap between academic analysis and lived reality, between critique and hope. While the Nigerian civil service may today function more as a division of governing political elite, it must be a professional bureaucracy. It recommends that the spirit of service still lives in the quiet dedication of some few that must be encouraged. To my friend, the author, you have not just written a book, you have lit a candle in a dark room, maybe backed by your orientation as a Christian. Your level of integrity has brought you out to stand firm, to be able to tell the truth in this book of what you have experienced when you are in the service. And this is going to continue to be a way to encourage others who wants to serve with all integrity. Mr. Ajayi is retiring from service. He is still rendering a service for the future in writing this book, a venture that will surely be available long after his departure from this world. Lastly, I wish to emphasize here that the Nigerian civil service can be salvaged, but only if we return to the principles of merit, neutrality, accountability, and service before self. Are you so beautifully made that you want to bring our government to a high level? The civil service is a place to achieve your dream. I pray that even as you are retiring, the book here will fall into good hands, and by the grace of God, many will read it and decide to emulate your good virtues. Thank you very much. God bless you.
A bigger round of applause for Professor of Science. And he has just reviewed the book as we had him do that. We have other reviewers in the diaspora, not here, but we are going to be taking one of them virtually. So one of them will be reviewing one of the books. Like we said, Mr. Remi Ajayi has written so many books. So that is one of the books that has just been taken. So we are going to be having a reviewer from Canada in person of Mr. Yemi Ajumobi, Mrs. Yemi Ajumobi. So she will be reviewing from Canada. We are going to be joining virtually. So let's have the connection, please.
Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. Standing on the existing protocol. I'm unsure if we can all hear me. If we can the MCP signal so I can understand that we all hear? Okay, thank you, Mr. Balogun. All right, like I said, I'm standing on the existing protocol. I'm not there physically. I don't know who to give accolades to or who to greet, but based on the existing protocol, I say good afternoon, and I stand on those protocols. Before I go into the review, I'm going to tell you the books I'm reviewing today, but before I go into the review, I want to join the others who have commented about Mr. Ajayi just for a few seconds, that all the things you have said about him, let us understand that these are legacies. I understand that he is a giver, he gives money to people, but he would not give the money forever. He would not even be with us forever. There's nothing that has a beginning that does not have an end. Even though we pray that he's going to live long, 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 long in good health and with sound mind. But let us remember that all the things we've mentioned about him are legacies that would live in his lifetime and live after him. So these are things that we should learn and also emulate from him, so that people would also say these things about him, about us, once we are no longer here. From the family, they say he's Ogaba Migbe the giver. Okay, now Dr. Doherty says he's no longer the giver. Turn the tap and make you the giver, and turn that tap towards him. You say he's the unifier. Okay, he has now joined the board of trustees in your family. So then get somebody who would be the unifier, who has learned from him, and will continue to consult with him as long as we have him with us on earth. You say he's a loving brother. How loving are you towards the rest of your brothers? Have you learned from him? These are the legacies that he has left, and he would continue to live as long as he's here with us on earth. Civil service. He's hardworking. He's a leader, he's a teacher, he's a mentor, he's meticulous. How are you? How has he impacted you? If you have changed and he has impacted you, that's the only way you can celebrate him. But if we just come out and say things about him without actually learning from him, even if we've learned from him, but we are not impacting others, then we are really not celebrating him. So, Mr. Ajayi, I join everybody to celebrate you. We were colleagues at Saka, and just like Dr. Doherty, I have so many things to say about you, but this is not the assignment I've been given. But one thing I would also agree with Dr. Doherty is that he is not, like he said in Yoruba, he's not an elesin. He is Enito Molon. Mr. Ajayi would never introduce himself as a pastor. The first time I met him, he was like, my name is Remi Ajayi. And I was like, okay, that's fine. My name is Yemi Ajumobi. But along the line, I had to ask him, please, sorry, what church do you attend? Are you a pastor? Just because of the way he lives his life, the things he does, the things I see, and I'm like, this man has to be a pastor. He has to be a man of God. So that is how we should also be. Let us be models and not just preach with our mouth, but let us also live in such a way that people would learn from us, appreciate us, and actually want to be like us. Thank you very much for that. Even though I wasn't given that opportunity, I gave it to myself, but thank you very much. Now going to the books. Now, the first book I'm reviewing today, I would also be joining the Professor Aladegbola to review, is the Nigerian Civil Service, the Untold Story, authored by our very own Mr. Oluwabamigbe Remi Ajayi. Now, the book takes us inside the engine room of governance, that's the civil service, to show us its past glory, its decline, and how it can be reformed moving forward. I'd like to start with a striking fact from that book, which says in 1975, under General Murtala Mohammed, more than 10,000 civil servants were dismissed in a single day. That event symbolized both the power and vulnerability of the civil service. Now, this book examines such events and explains why they still matter today. It helps us to understand why Nigeria's governance struggles and why reforming the civil service is central to the nation's future. The book traces the civil service from its colonial foundations through its golden era of respected technocrats to the gradual decay caused by military rule and political interference, just like Professor Aladegbola mentioned. And it doesn't stop there. The author also proposes reforms, making the book not just historical, but also a guide for future policy. Now, one of the greatest strengths of this work is its rich historical detail. It reminds us of the names like Simon Adebo, Jerome Idoji, and Alison Aida. The book also provides an honest diagnosis of decay, showing how sycophancy, corruption, and political meddling eroded professionalism in the civil service. It humanizes the struggles of ordinary civil servants, from poor salaries to delayed pensions. Finally, it offers a clear reformist vision, calling for merit-based promotions, digital systems, and accountability. I mean, who, in this age and time, why would our civil service still be paper-based? Still, in the era of COVID, where most people, according to most of the nations, could not go to work physically, if only our civil service was digitalized, then people would be allowed to work from home and continue to contribute to the economy of the state and the nation as a whole. And now, areas for improvement, just like any book, it has areas for improvement, like some themes, like in corruption and psychophancy, were repeated too often. The timelines could be fragmented, and an appendix would also help. But it also really compares Nigeria's civil service with other countries, which could provide valuable lessons for, the Nigeria civil service to learn from. In conclusion, the Nigerian civil service, the untold story, is a bold and necessary work, highly necessary in this age and time. It reveals the realities of decay while affirming the essential role of the civil service. It preserves institutional memory and calls urgently for reform. This book is highly recommended for policymakers, scholars, of course, civil servants, and anyone who cares about Nigeria's future. And the key message I want us to remember in this: reforming the civil service is reforming Nigeria itself. And as I close on this particular book, I'd like to involve you to consider this question. Do you believe Nigeria's civil service can ever return to the golden age? Now, this book does not give easy answers, but it sparks important conversations, details for us to go home with and think about. So I'd encourage us, every one of us here, civil service or not, scholars, politicians, policymakers, to grab a copy of this book. Read. If you've never been in the civil service, it's important for you to grab a copy of this book and read and know how it works, where we were and where we are today, and how we would likely, where we should be in the future. Thank you, Mr. Ajayi, for this great opportunity and this insight into the civil service. Some of us know some of these things, a lot of people do not. But thank you for making this book available for those who do not, and for those who actually know and would like to actually fight for that reform of the Nigerian civil service. Now, I'll go to the second book, which is called The Trailblazer, also authored by Mr. Remi Ajayi. This book is biographical and historical, and it's a tribute to Pa Ezekiel Ajayi, who was a visionary entrepreneur, a family man, and a community leader from Igogo Ekiti. More than a biography, it is a window into Yoruba traditions, the spread of Christianity, and the social transformation of an entire community. Now, let me begin with a question. What does it mean to be a trailblazer in a traditional African society? This book answers that question by telling the story of Pa Ezekiel Ajayi. At a time when education, faith, and trade were reshaping society, he emerged as a unifier, just like his son, as mentioned by Mr. Ajayi from the family. So I guess it's genetical. So I hope Pelumi and your siblings would learn, okay, from your dad's legacy and your grandfather's legacy. So the book portrays Mr. Pa Ezekiel Ajayi as a unifier, a successful businessman, and a moral example for his family and the community. It's not just about one man, actually. It's about how one person's life can transform many others, just as we're celebrating Mr. Ajayi today. Now, the book is organized thematically, covering Pa Ezekiel Ajayi's genealogy, his adoption of Christianity, his career as a tailor, an entrepreneur, his family life, and his role in community leadership. We see him move from humble beginnings to becoming a respected craftsman, a business tycoon, and eventually a symbol of unity and service in Igogo Ekiti. The first strength of this work is its rich cultural and historical context. We learn about Yoruba customs, the clothing, and the arrival of Christianity. Second, it gives a detailed portrait of Pa Ezekiel, not just a tailor, but as an entrepreneur who expanded into trade, farming, and philanthropy. And thirdly, It emphasizes his family and legacy, his sacrifice in raising his siblings, his defense of widows, and his constant role as a unifier. Finally, the storytelling style combines history and biography in a way that is both educational and inspiring. Now, as with many family-centered histories, there are many areas for improvement. The book relies heavily on community perception, more personal anecdotes, and first-hand stories could deepen the emotional connection. And then, since the chapters are thematic rather than chronological, the timeline can sometimes feel unclear. But in conclusion, The Trailblazer is much more than a family memoir. It is a social history showing how one man's resilience, generosity, and leadership shaped the community. It preserves the cultural heritage of Igogo Ekiti while celebrating the universal values of service, unity, and progress. I recommend this book to anyone interested in African biography, Yoruba traditions, or the power of visionary leadership in community development. As I close, let me leave you with a question, as usual. What legacy are we building for future generations, just as Pa Ezekiel built his, and just as Mr. Remi Ajayi is continuing to build his? The story of the Trailblazer reminds us that greatness is not only measured by wealth or power. I mean, just like the MC mentioned, Mr. Ajayi is not swimming in money today. But then see all the things that were said about him. So it's not only measured by power or wealth, but by how much we give back to the family and the society. Thank you very much for this opportunity. Please grab copies of these books, Nigeria, Civil Service, The Untold Story, and The Trailblazer. And congratulations to Mr. Ajayi on your birthday and your retirement and on the launch of these books. May God continue to bless you and your family, and may God continue to strengthen you and bless the work of your hands. Thank you very much. All the best to everyone. Thanks for the opportunity, Yemi Ajayi. I said Yemi Ajayi. Mr. Ajayi, adopt me, please. My name is Yemi Ajumobi, calling from Canada. Thank you.
So we've had two reviewers now, one virtual and one physical, and we are taking the third reviewer. It's also going to be virtual. The person is in Abuja, so we are going to be joining him, and that's Mr. Kazeem Balogun from Abuja. So we are going to join him now.
Leave your cares behind. Welcome to my world.
Okay, thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. Can you please confirm that can you see my slide? Okay. Please confirm you can hear me, please.
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay, great. Can you also see the slide?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you for the opportunity. I'm immensely grateful. But most importantly, I would like to say happy birthday to my big brother, who is also like a mentor. It is with heartfelt congratulations that I say congratulations to you, sir, and a happy birthday to you. It's not just a milestone for you, it's also an opportunity for you to also add to the body of knowledge you have brought to bear, through all of the books that you've written, your experience as an active practitioner, in the civil service, and what the challenges are, the realities of the civil service, as well as what it should look like in terms of best practices. And so I've been asked, I've been honored or privileged to be asked by Mr. Ajayi to do a brief comparison between what is currently obtainable in line with his book in the civil service and the global social development practice. The great thing is that the two earlier reviewers have done very good job by providing details about what the books, have talked about, particularly the Nigeria Civil Service, the Untold story. So what I'll be doing is I'll be skipping in order to save our time. I know it's been quite a day now, and it's been quite a day, and we don't want to keep everyone for too long anymore. So I will just briefly talk about a few things in terms of looking at both systems. What is currently obtainable according to the author um, between the two systems. They've talked about some of the challenges that we currently see in the civil service, while in the non-profit sector, in non-governmental organizations, many, like Dr. Duarte said earlier, Mr. Ajayi had the privilege of working with several international non-governmental organizations, or what we also call non-profit organizations, where I also belong. I started my journey, working in Ekiti, and I had the privilege of working with with Mr. Ajayi. Maybe he's going to become a doctor very soon. I think with all of his books, we can actually make a case for him to be granted a PhD as a result of his literary contributions. Um, and so we had the opportunity of working together. And so I'm bringing to bear my experience and where he has also, having worked with us closely in the nonprofit sector. And so I'm going to be doing just a review about from the lens of the nonprofit perspective. And so these are the realities currently in the Nigerian civil service. They've talked about all of these. I don't need to repeat them. But what does it look like in the non-profit sector? We are hoping that the civil service can be like that, like Mrs. Ajumobi also highlighted. There was a dramatic change in the way we work globally when during COVID came in 2020. And so it means that a lot of people had to start working remotely. For example, I work remotely half of the time. I work from any part of the world. I only have to be available physically when there are important meetings or when I need to do some in-person engagements. And so in the nonprofit sector, there's a lot of independency in terms of systems being put in place. Things are driven by results and learning, like having key performance indicators, MIE frameworks. These are balance and terms that are very well known to Mr. Ajayi that he brought to bear in civil service, and why a lot of people who have worked with him are making reference to it. The fact that he worked with non-profit organizations and he's able to see, the great difference between how things are done in non-profit sector, in NGOs, and how they are being done in the civil service is part of why he has that knowledge and that endowment to be able to write what he has written. Unlike what we have in the civil service, um, in the non-profit sector or in the NGO sector, things are done based on competency. For example, recruitment is done based on competency. Promotions are even driven by competencies and key performance indicators. If you do not meet up with your half-year objectives or your annual objectives, you are not going to get either merit increase, salary, or promotion. Unlike what we have in the civil service, though things are changing gradually, where you have to do some exams to get there. But the exams and the results of those exams or tests, do they actually result in merit-based, promotion is a question to be asked. And then, so looking at the critical differences, we'll look at it from governance and culture perspective. Talking about rule of law and patronage, why the NGOs enforce transparent rules, like I mentioned, what we currently have in the civil service, according to the author, is that it operates on favor networks. In the civil service, you can hardly be openly dissent. You can seldom have be open about having a dissenting voice. But in the NGO sector, you can have a dissenting voice. You can even report your line manager or your supervisor when the person does something wrong. Whistleblowing is encouraged. While unfortunately in the civil service, a dissenting voice that wants to be critical minded or wants to be a whistleblower could be punished or probably be isolated or ostracized. Those are the ones that you see that will be posted to one remote place as one of the ways in which they want to reward the person for being transparent or trying to be fair. And in the, like I said earlier, in the non-profit sector, NGOs track their work based on key performance indicators. It is merit-driven, it is result-oriented, while it's not like that in the civil service. So what that means is it promotes or tolerates, chronic underperformance. I would talk briefly about, I would like to talk about recommendations, looking at the number of minutes that I have left, and because I committed to making this very brief, so that we do not keep you for too long. What are those things that we need to look at? And this is basically a combination of what the author wrote, as well as my experience as a development practitioner, having worked within the nonprofit sector for 2 decades now. And so whistleblower protection, that is something that needs to happen if we are going to have significant progress being made within the civil service, and we want to embrace global best practices and what is currently obtainable within the nonprofit sector. This does not necessarily mean that the nonprofit sector is 100% perfect, but to a great extent, things are done with a lot of transparency. One of the things that has plagued the civil service is procurement, and that's one of the big downside, of civil service. And so, but if we embrace digital procurement, if we make it e-procurement process like it is being done in non-profit organizations and non-governmental organizations, we'll see a great departure, a great improvement rather in how things are done. If we move away from paper-based to digitalization, and it means that human influence will be limited, that breeds some of the corruption challenges that we currently have. Merit-based systems, I've talked about that earlier. Independent recruitment. Recruitment at this point, like we have been highlighted by previous speakers within the civil service, and as also written in the book by the author, is still influenced a lot by politics. And so, lastly, if we are going to have a revolution within the civil service to obtain or embrace global best practices, it means that we need to embrace performance management. Performance management, I know about the APA that, like I said earlier, in the civil service, but then are they objective, is a question. And so things can be driven by results. And for a department or a unit, the annual agreed result can be the reason for which people are going to be promoted, and amongst other things. And so I will like to stop at this point, but before I round up, I would like to once again say congratulations to Mr. Ajayi. Thank you for all that you do, sir. I am sure that all of your dedication to the civil service and the things you've done, to affect positively humanity will work for you, will continue to work for you, will also work for your children. And trust me, you may be retired, sir, but some of us will drag you back, out of retirement to come and do some work for us. Thank you very much, and I wish you all the best, sir. Thank you.
Left the ground to go waltzing on top of the world.
Thank you very much for your patience. We've had the 3 reviewers, Professor Aladegbola and the other 2 in the diaspora. They have done justice to the books, and we appreciate them for joining us.